Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. Yesterday, May 17th, it's May 18th as I record this, I watched a video done by Nicole at Nicole's Bookish Nook. She did this video in response to a suggestion I did, which I really appreciate. She talked about her 5 favorite musical genres and the artists in those genres that she loves, and some she doesn't love so much. Quite an interesting video. I appreciate you doing that in response to my suggestion, Nicole. That got me thinking that I talk about it every so often, but seeing Nicole's video, I decided I'm going to resurrect my series where I talk about my musical journey. I previously did videos for the 70s, 2 for the 80s, and the first of 3 for the 90s. And it's not like there's been this big clamor for it, but Nicole's video got me thinking, yeah, I'll maybe go back and work on that series again. One difference I'm going to do, though, is I'm not going to do graphics for the albums. That just takes a lot of work. Each individual one isn't much, but you add them all together, you got to scan, do a screenshot, crop it, transfer it, bring it into YouTube, bring it into your video, size it. So, position it. So it's, when you multiply that by a bunch of albums, it takes a while. The albums and the bands I talk about will be in the description of the video, so you can see them there. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the country music I listened to in the 90s. I call that my country phase. There's a Connecticut station, 92.5, a country station, which I don't remember the impetus, but I started listening to it, and that led me to listening to a bunch of country artists. Most of them I'm sure I can't remember now, but there are a few that stick in my memory as like what I've called in the other videos I'll do here, the top tier artists I listen to, the ones I consider the best that I listened to at that time. Best by my judgment, not critical judgment, the ones I like the most. In 1992, I heard Passionate Kisses by Mary Carpenter on 92.5. I love Passionate Kisses, and then I got her album, Come On, Come On. I love that too. There are those that considered Mary Chapin Carpenter to be more a folk artist than a country artist, and the argument could be made that that's true. As a matter of fact, she's still going, and I think now she'd definitely be considered a folk artist, but such distinctions don't matter that much to me. It's just, do I like it or not? All that mattered to me is I love the album Come On, Come On. I got her previous album, Shooting Stars in the Dark. That was another real good album. Great music on those albums. She's a great lyricist. I got some of her later albums. Second artist I want to mention is Trisha Yearwood. I think the first song I heard of Trisha Yearwood is the song Remembers When. I got the album of the same name. It was good. I don't think she wrote the songs on her albums, and I do prefer that artists at least write the lyrics they're singing, but in country, that's pretty common. Maybe still is. Regardless of who wrote them, the songs are really good. I got her earlier Hearts and Amore album. Another really good album. I got another really good album, really good songs. I got one, possibly more of her later albums. Can't remember the first song of Lori Morgan's that I heard. It's the first album I got of hers was War Paint. It wasn't truly critically well received as earlier albums of hers were, but I really liked it. Songs like My Night to Hall and War Paint I really liked. I got an earlier album or two, and I think a later album, possibly more. The first Martina McBride song I heard was Independence Day, and I loved it. I got the album was on The Way That I Am. I got later albums Wild Angels, Evolution, and more. She's put out a lot of great songs like A Broken Wing, Happy Girl, This One's for the Girls, and many more. Of all the country artists I liked back then, the one that stuck with me most is Martina McBride. There are other artists like Little Big Town, Alan Jackson, Shania Twain, artists that I liked a lot too, and I'm sure there's a zillion more. Country didn't stick with me like some of the other genres I talk about here in this series, and I'm going to talk about later. So many of the names are probably lost in my memory. If I heard the songs now, I'm sure they would ring a bell, but can't really think of any. Next, I just want to talk about some of the country concerts I attended in the 90s. Not an exhaustive list. I kind of regret I didn't just keep a list of all the concerts I've gone to in my life, but unfortunately I didn't. In 93, I attended a Mary Chapin Carpenter concert at the Oakdale Theater in Wallingford, Connecticut. In 1994, I attended a Lorrie Morgan concert at the Springfield Civic Center. It was actually a Christmas concert. In 1995, I attended a Lorrie Morgan concert at the Oakdale Theater in Wallingford, Connecticut. In 1995, I attended a Trisha Yearwood concert at the Oakdale Theater. In 1995, I attended a Vince Gill, Patti Loveless concert at the Harvard Civic Center. Two other artists I did like a lot. Remember, I had several Patti Loveless albums, some Vince Gill albums. And Vince Gill is married to a singer I really like, Amy Grant. They've been married for a while. In 1995, I saw Tanya Tucker at the Oakdale. And the first video I did when I talked about what led me to start listening to music, we went on a Boy Scout trip a couple weeks up in Maine, Mount Katahdin area, and Tanya Tucker, as a 16-year-old, had a huge hit called Delta Dawn, and that was a big impetus, that song and other songs I listened to on that trip, because it's a several-hour trip from Connecticut up to Maine, 4 or 5 hours, I think, and that's the close side of Maine. But this was the only time I saw her. In 1997, I saw Martina McBride. I'm not sure of the location. In 1997, I saw Mary Chapin Carpenter, again at the Oakdale. In 1997, I saw Kathy Mattea at the Oakdale Theater. In 1999, I saw Linda Ronstadt and Emmylou Harris at the Oakdale Theater. I think I forgot to mention when I talked about my 70s and my 80s, people like, mostly 70s, that I really loved Linda Ronstadt. I loved her country rock albums. She did move away from that. She did some songs with the Nelson Real Orchestra. I'm sure they were good, but it was really like the 70s, early 80s stuff with Linda Ronstadt that I liked. When I saw her, it was good, but she didn't play too many of those old songs. Now I'm just going to talk a little bit about where the artists I loved then are in my life now, and if I know what's going on with them. In many cases I might not, but some cases I might. I saw Mary Chapin Carpenter 5 times in the 90s, and then I saw her a couple times in the 2010s. Still really like seeing her. As I said earlier, she's kind of really, I would definitely say, a folk artist now. I haven't listened to her really since those times, since say around 2014, 2015 or so. She's still around, still releasing music, still touring. It's just, I'm sure I'd like her if I did see her, or I'd sure like her music if I did listen to it. Trisha Yearwood is still around. She's been married to Garth Brooks for a long time. Another artist I listened to a little bit, and I forgot to mention, Garth Brooks. I saw her, Trisha Yearwood, maybe 3-4 times in the 90s. I don't think I saw her after the 90s. And I don't know as I've listened to her music much past then either. Lori Morgan still releases music. I'm sure she still tours. As with Trisha Yearwood, I haven't listened to her for a while. I'm sure I'd like it if I did, but I just haven't listened to her for a while. Martina McBride is the one that stuck with me the most. I ended up seeing her about 10 times between the 90s and 2000s, and last saw her maybe 2014, 2015. It was also the last concert we took our mother to. As with many of these artists, I haven't listened to Martina McBride's music recently. I probably should. As I said, of all these artists that I talk about, she's the one that most stuck with me. She's the one I most would, if I had to name my favorite country artist, it would be Martina McBride. If we consider Mary Chapin Carpenter country, which I said she's not really anymore, and it's a question if she was back then, she'd be fairly close, but Martina McBride is the clear favorite country artist of mine over my country listening times. The one I would most look back and I'm sure I'd love if I listened to again. As I said, Vince Gill has been married to Amy Grant for a long time. They still do concerts, sometimes together, sometimes separately. I don't know what Patty Loveless is doing, whether she still releases music, whether she still tours or not. I've totally lost track of what she's doing. I also don't really know what Kathy Mattea is doing. I suspect she's probably releasing music and touring, but I'm not certain. Linda Ronstadt has MS. She's had it for a while, so she hasn't been able to tour or record music. Emmylou Harris, I'm pretty sure, still does release music and tour. And I forgot to mention, in 1999 I saw Shania Twain. Really like her a lot too. Wouldn't say she's isn't necessarily the top tier artist like the few I mentioned, but really did like her a lot. I was fortunate to see her. I did see at least twice Little Big Town. One time in a co-bill with Sugarland, and I had a little of their music too, I think, Sugarland. And one time as a multi-act. I cannot remember the headliner, but the second one I mentioned, I went more to see the Wreckers, which was a country band of Michelle Branch, and I can't remember the other singer in the band, but Michelle Branch is somebody I really like. I'll be talking to about in a later video. In the aughts, I saw Reba McEntire. I saw the Dixie Chicks, now just referred to as the Chicks. Actually, I saw the Dixie Chicks at a time when in certain parts of the country, they probably couldn't play concerts because of stuff they said about the then president. But in Connecticut, that isn't really an issue. Some other country artists I did see more recently. I'm just including them here, but I might include when I talk about my later videos, but I'm not going to do a separate country one because there's not enough to talk about. I did see a co-bill of Johnny Cash and George Jones. Johnny Cash was not too long to live after that. I saw a co-bill with Randy Travis and George Jones. Actually, it might have been Randy Travis opening and George Jones supporting. One kind of thing I saw was a little unseemly for somebody like George Jones, such a reputation. He had to have people hawking his CDs in the audience. I would have thought that artists of that stature would have hoped wouldn't have to do that. I would have thought he would be able to sell enough albums. It's unfortunate that was the case in my mind. But that's the artists that come to mind. As I said, there was a bunch more. If you said the name, or certainly if I heard the songs, they might tick back a memory of mine. There has been a resurgence of country recently. I have heard some catchy songs, but I'm not really I think I've kind of mainly stayed listening to pop music, some other stuff too, but mostly pop music these days. The next video I'm going to do in this series, hopefully it won't be months between, like it was between the previous one and this one, is going to be the heavy music I listened to in the 90s. That's a umbrella term I use to, so I can talk about the heavy metal and hard rock music I listened to in the 90s. Be interested to know what bands from the country scene in the 90s you may have listened to and liked. If you'd like to let me know, please add a comment. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.